Unexpected medical bills are the worst, so I'm going to break down easy ways that you can save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on medical bills. All right, the first tip that I have to save on medical bills is really simple. I just don't think many people do it. It is just ask for a discount. Often when you ask for a discount, hospitals will give a cash payment discount. So if you are willing to settle your medical bill right then and there, if you ask them for a discount, I have seen it where they will give up to 20% on a discount on their medical bills, and that can end up being a whole lot of money. Now, if you like saving money, do me a favor and absolutely obliterate that like button. It really helps me out. The algorithm will recognize that wonderful people are watching this and can benefit from this information. So obliterate that like button. Let's get back to the video. My name's Greg Atkin and I'm a CPA, and I talk to a lot of people about personal finance, and one of the most underutilized tools that I've ever seen is an HSA. That is a health savings account. So when I am talking to people, man, I tell them this is a great way to save a whole lot of money, and it can be a fantastic tool to save for the future as well. So tip number 2 is to get a health savings account and contribute to it, because any money that you contribute into a health savings account is completely tax-free. That means the government will just say, hey, we won't recognize that you gained income during the year if you put it towards a health savings account, meaning that when you go and file your taxes, you are not being taxed on that income at all. If you like to find ways to save money and to make more money and build that wealth, hit that subscribe button. Let's go learn about HSAs. And what is super cool, it is kind of like a traditional IRA where you contribute into this health savings account, and that means you are not taxed on that income in the current year. But unlike an IRA, I can actually pull that money out of my health savings account if it is used for qualified medical expenses and use it to pay my medical bills, and I am still not taxed. And I can do that all before retirement age, which is awesome. So right now, my family, I have 3 kids going on 4. So yeah, I have medical bills because I have little kids and sometimes they're crazy and they just break a leg by falling off a couch or something stupid like that. So I can pull money from that health savings account and pay my medical bills, and I am not taxed on it. I have said this before in other videos and I still stand by it. Taxes suck. And so I am going to do everything legally that I possibly can to reduce my taxes and pay less into the government, because I want to keep more in my pocket and build my wealth. All right, to show you how big of savings you can actually have by contributing into a health savings account, I'm going to put up the tax brackets for 2021. Now you'll notice that the lowest bracket is 10%. So even if you only made up to $10,000 as an individual, which I'm assuming most people probably make a little bit more than that, you're being taxed at 10%. So if you contribute and max out a health savings account, you can save hundreds of dollars, because the max that you can contribute into a health savings account in 2021 as an individual is $3,600. So if I contributed $3,600 and I'm only taxed at 10%, then I'm saving $360. Now that doubles for families. So if you are a family or married filing jointly, you can contribute $7,200. And if you're taxed at 10%, that's $720 in savings. And I cannot think of anybody who wouldn't like to have that extra money in their pocket. Now, if your rate is a little bit higher, say you're an individual who's making $50,000, which isn't unreasonable, then your savings would be 22% of anything that you contribute. And as an individual, that would end up being $792 in savings on your taxes at the end of the year. That is no small chunk of change. It is the easiest way to save money on medical bills, is by contributing to an HSA and paying your medical bills with that health savings account. Now with a family, since your rate that you can contribute is double that of an individual, being $7,200, you can contribute that much. Your savings on those taxes can essentially double, right? So if I'm contributing fully into it and I'm in a 22% tax bracket where an individual saved $790, I can save $1,580 on my taxes by maxing out my HSA. All right, you may be thinking to yourself, but Greg, I cannot spare that $3,600 to max out my HSA as an individual, or that $7,200 to max out my HSA as a married filing jointly. If that is the case, that is totally okay. But there is a cool way that you can still save money, and that is by simply just contributing the amount of a medical bill that you have. Say you have a $200 medical bill. Well, first put that into an HSA and then pay your medical bill, because then at least you are saving taxes on that $200. Now, it may not be the full 36, but it is still tax savings. All right, another cool thing about HSAs is when I contribute, any money that I don't spend in the current year on medical bills just rolls over and it just stays into my account. So I've been maxing out my HSA for the last 3 or 4 years, and I haven't spent all of that money on medical bills. So it just keeps rolling over. And so my balances keep building up. Now, whenever I do have like a big medical expense, I know that I already have that money set aside. And then that medical expense isn't so daunting, because a lot of times medical expenses just get so stressful because you're wondering where your money to pay for that medical expense is going to come from. Well, if you've been maxing out your HSA or even contributing as much as you possibly can, by the time you may have a bigger medical expense, you're going to have a fat chunk of savings sitting there ready. And that's so liberating and it's so stress-free because you already have it built up. So along with the savings from a health savings account, one thing that people often look past is the income that a health savings account can generate. So a health savings account is very similar to an IRA, meaning you can invest the balance that you have in there. Now, most health savings accounts, they'll have a cash balance where you have to have some cash. So mine, I have to have $2,000 in cash in there. But anything above $2,000, I can actually go and invest. So for me, I maxed out my HSA at $7,200. So that's saving me a whole chunk of change, like $1,500 plus in taxes. And the other thing that it did is this year I made nearly $2,000 in investment income. I had a 47% increase in my HSA by investing. So yeah, I had a huge increase and it is awesome. I am loving it. Now, one thing that I do, obviously with investing, there is some risk. There's risk that the market could go down, and obviously there's this wonderful return if the market goes up. So what I do is I take in my HSA account and I put in cash the amount of my deductible. Now, anything above that, I go and invest. And for me, this is just like a safety measure saying, okay, if I reach my deductible, if I have a huge medical expense, I know I have the cash sitting in my HSA ready to pay that medical bill. Anything above that, I'm willing to take risks with. I'm willing to invest it, and I can make thousands of dollars by doing so. Another really neat thing about an HSA is obviously those balances just keep going and keep growing. Now, I can always pull them out tax-free for medical expenses, but when I hit retirement age, I can also pull them just for regular things if I want to. But that's when it shifts a little bit, and if you pull it for a non-medical reason after retirement age, you are taxed on it. But the good thing is when we retire, we're going to be a little bit older, and as we grow older, we're going to have higher medical expenses. So in theory, if you build all of this up when you are older, you already have all that money saved up for any medical expenses that you have, and you can pull that money completely tax-free. Now, a few last things to remember. To qualify for a health savings account, you need to have a high deductible plan, meaning your deductible obviously has to be a little bit higher. It's just a rule that the IRS writes in. Now, if you are like me, I hardly ever reach my deductible, thank goodness, because I'm glad that I don't have big medical expenses. But even with a low deductible, it was pretty rare for me to hit my deductible. So I just say, you know what? I'm going to save money on my premium by having a higher deductible. And then I'm going to take that savings and I'm going to contribute it into an HSA and save that money. Now, I have all that money built up after the last 3 or 4 years of contributing into my HSA, so that if I ever do end up having to pay all of that money up to my deductible, I actually already have it completely saved up and I have enough money to cover that. Now, if you're an individual that has a whole lot of medical expenses, you may want to do just a quick analysis to see if having a high deductible is actually worth it. Because if your deductible is twice as much and you're going to end up having to pay all of that, you may not make the savings that you need to have a health savings account actually work for you. But I would say the large majority of people can actually use a health savings account. Like I said, it is the most underutilized tool that I have seen while talking to people about personal finances. It is a great way to save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in taxes and make investment income, as I explained earlier. If you are not already a subscriber, hit that little red button down there. Here's a video that you should go and check out. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. I think that's it. I think I hit everything. Boom.